Hello everybody and welcome again to another edition of Movie Masters. I am your host, Movie Master Mike, and I am back and just as fucking excited as ever. I just watched Avengers Age of Ultron. Opening night, I went to the midnight showing. I came home and I was going to record at 3:30 in the morning, but I was too tired and just went to bed. So it's the next morning, it's Friday, it's opening day, and here I am talking about it. And it was fucking awesome. That's why I'm so excited. It was so cool. Everything about it was awesome. This is going to be non-spoilers, maybe minor spoilers, but not a whole lot of spoilers. I'm not going to tell you like the plot and if any characters die or anything like that, like what happens to Ultron, how he's made and anything like that. But just my initial thoughts about it, how cool it was. Every character got a moment, got a little quippy line. So many one-liners in this movie, and they were all super hilarious. There was one that was really funny. I can't remember what it was. There was just so much in this movie. It was really, really dense, and everybody was in it. Everybody was in it except for Pepper Potts and Jane Foster. But, I mean, Nick Fury was in it. Obviously, all the Avengers from last time were in it. We get introduced to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, which I thought was really cool. I didn't really like the idea of them even joining the Avengers. It's like, why them? Like, I know they're like Avengers in the comics, or they were, but why? Who cares? Especially Quicksilver. Like, who gives a fuck? But then after last year's Days of Future Past, I was like, wow, Marvel has their work cut out for them to top that Quicksilver. And they didn't focus as heavily on this Quicksilver as Days of Future Past did, because that was like the best part of Days of Future Past, or best action scene where he was ultra slow motion, just moving everybody. And I mean, he did a little bit of that in this, but they didn't focus on it a lot. And so, but they did a really good job. I really liked them. But everybody got their own thing to do. Everybody shined. Like the first joke was a Captain America joke saying, like it opens with like an action scene and they're infiltrating something, and somebody says hell or damn or something like that, and Captain America says language, and then they keep talking about who's where, let's get this done, and Tony Stark was like, am I the only one that's going to focus on the fact that Captain America just said language? And it was really funny. But Falcon was in it briefly. There was a party scene, like after they do their thing in the beginning, they have like this little party, which is one of my favorite scenes. I love like when these characters are just hanging out talking. Like the action and shit is like super cool, but I like in the first Avengers when they're on the helicarrier just kind of talking. I really like that scene. And in this one, there's a party, so they're all, not in costume, just kind of hanging out, and it's really good. Like Don Cheadle is there, which was really funny because he's telling the Avengers this story about how he dumped this tank on some guy's doorstep, and it was supposed to be like this funny delivery of a line, and like Thor and Captain America are like, was that it? That's the end of the story? Oh, yeah, no, that was a good story. And he's like, come on, that'd kill with anybody else. And you see him telling it to like just like some other people that aren't superheroes, and they all laugh, and Don Cheadle's like, yeah, that's right. It's really funny. The whole scene, everything is hilarious, and so that's one of my favorite scenes, just especially since you see Don Cheadle, who I love, and Falcon, I forget the actor's name, but he's really good. He was in there, and he tells Cap, he's like, oh, I'm sorry I wasn't there to help you guys out. And he's like, oh, well, next time I'll bring you along. He's like, no, I'm not seriously sorry. Like, I'm perfectly okay with just searching for Hydra or whatever he's doing. He's okay with not being an Avenger, saving the world, risking his life. I mean, he would if he had to, but because we know from the last Captain America movie, The Winter Soldier, that he was an actual soldier and lost one of his best friends in the war, and so he was pretty much dealing with PTSD, basically, so he was like, no, I'm okay with not, doing stuff like that like you guys do. And so we just get to see everybody. We get to see a little bit more of not Scarlet Witch, but Black Widow's backstory, which was nice. We got to see a little bit more of Clint Barton, who they even make fun of the fact that they don't really need him on this team of superheroes. He's just kind of there shooting an arrow, and he gets injured in the beginning, so they're taking him to get medical help, and Scarlet Witch says something like pretending like he's a part of the team, or that we need him, really brings the team together. So they make fun of the fact that he's he's there and he's essential to the overall experience of the movie, but when you really think about it, they don't need him, but they make fun of that, so it's great. And then some stuff happens between some characters. They introduced, like I said, more into Hawkeye, which I was actually really relieved. Like, it almost seems like, oh, really, you're introducing this? Like, that's stupid. But I was really relieved when it happened. I was like, oh, thank God, they don't have to fool around with this other stuff. And but we get to see Agent Carter briefly. We get to see Heimdall briefly, which was really cool. It was all like kind of like dream sequences, like LSD trip that Scarlet Witch is fucking with everybody's mind. So they go into like this weird like dream sequence and like visions almost and things like that. And if you've seen the posters, then you know that Vision is in the movie, and Vision was really cool. I like how they got Paul Bettany, the voice of Jarvis, to play him. So now he's a physical character instead of just this voice presence. The Hulk and Thor are my two favorite characters in this, and they are fucking badass. Hulk is so cool. Hulk is so fucking cool in this movie. It's ridiculous. Like, if you thought he was cool in the first Avengers, this one, he is fucking awesome. If you notice from like all the previews show him and Iron Man Hulkbuster armor going at it, and that sequence was amazing. Oh my god, and it was so long. I didn't think it was going to be nearly that long. I thought it was going to be kind of like the Thor Hulk fight from the first one, where it was like, a few hits in and then it's kind of over. But this one was dragged out. It was like the middle of the movie action sequence. Like, there was the beginning and a little bit here, and then that sequence, and then the main like hour-long battle at the end. But it was really cool. I love seeing Hulk just fucking smash everything. Unstoppable force of rage. It is so fucking cool. And Thor, like, he doesn't do the most in this movie. He had a lot of cool stuff in the beginning with them just kind of hanging out. I really liked all that stuff because, in the first Thor movie, he was the fish out of water. He didn't know that he can't throw his coffee cup down and order another one, and he didn't know that pet stores don't sell horses and stuff. But then Avengers 2, he was still kind of out of the loop. Like, he was basically the alien god, among these humans. And but then at the end of Thor 2, we know that he stayed behind on Earth. He doesn't want to be King of Asgard. He wants to be an Avenger and be with Jane. So now that he's been on Earth longer and he's been, living with Jane or whatever and helping the Avengers, like, so now he's more in tune with humanity and things like that. So there's a lot of great comedy. I'll spoil a scene for you in the party. There's a scene where they're all trying to pick up the hammer, and it's absolutely hilarious. It is so funny. But what a great scene. I love that about Thor, that he can pick up his hammer and stuff. But it's so funny. All the other characters are just kind of there. I mean, Tony Stark is a huge deal because obviously, he was like the face of the franchise, so he needs to be a big part of it. And I liked him in this. He's never been my favorite character. In the first Iron Man, he was really cool, but he's just kind of, I don't know, he's just not my favorite. So, but I love Robert Downey Jr. He does a great Tony Stark, and he is funny in this movie and has some good lines. And he kind of gets the ball rolling for the story and things. So, but overall, this was a thoroughly enjoyable movie. I'm going to go see it again tonight with the Boston Boys, and then we can have a spoiler-filled, balls to the wall fucking review and discussion on this movie, because I really, really want to do that, and I don't want to spoil anything right now. It is just opening day. I saw it at the midnight showing. So until then, I'm your host, Movie Master Mike, reminding you to speak your geek and balance your geek with Geekilibrium.